Hi guys! I'm at 39 weeks. I can't believe I'm saying it. I honestly knew this day would come, but I can't believe it's really here. I wanted to talk today about something, or someone rather, that has really made this whole experience so much more calm and manageable, and just has made me feel so much better about going into labor, which is definitely something that's a little bit terrifying, especially for us first-time moms. So I'm going to talk about a doula. So what is a doula? I had to look it up too. Okay. A doula is a trained professional who provides continuous physical, emotional, and informational support to a mother before, during, and shortly after childbirth to help her achieve the healthiest and most satisfying experience possible. Sounds pretty great, right? I can't believe I had never heard of a doula before, and when I first started researching it maybe 6 months ago, I was blown away. I was like, why doesn't everybody use them? And then I realized why. They are a little bit expensive. That was definitely one challenge for us to kind of get over, and I spoke at length with my husband about it. We went over our finances, and we decided that having a doula was actually really important to us, and we figured out what our budget was, and then we shopped around, and we ended up finding a doula who we are really, really happy with and who was within our budget. So why have a doula? Well, for us, we live out here on the West Coast, and our families are both on the East Coast. So we don't really have any family out here, and we thought it would be really nice to have another person, another support person who is there just for us, who's going to come to the hospital with us, who's going to be with us throughout the labor and right after. And basically, since we are first timers, we don't know what we're doing. So we don't really have anybody to call upon besides our, 6-week or monthly checkups with the doctor. That's it. Of course, I've been texting friends and calling mothers that I know and getting all that information, which is so helpful. But it's a lot different having somebody standing in front of you, especially when you're in the throes of labor. So for us, having that support and that person here really made us feel a lot better. We felt like in the moment we would have somebody that we could ask all of our questions, somebody who would be on our team, and somebody who would be really there for us. I understand maybe many of you are saying, well, you have a doctor, right? Isn't that what an OBGYN is for? Isn't that what the nurses are for? And yes, that's totally true. However, the nurses and the doctor are there to deliver the baby. They are there for the baby, and that is their #1 priority. The doula is more there for me as the mother, and also for Dave, and to support us going into it, making us feel the most prepared and the most educated and the most in control of this pretty wild, out of control experience. She's really there to help us realize our vision of what this birth will be. So I get that birth is completely unpredictable, and I understand that I'm gonna have to be flexible. Even though I like to have things very scheduled and planned and neat and tidy, it's not gonna be like that. And I'm pretty much betting that something's gonna go a different way than I had anticipated or planned. But having a doula there, I think is going to make me feel a lot better, because when we get to those crossroads where I have to make a decision and both seem like good answers and I just don't feel educated enough, I'm going to talk with my doctor, get their opinion, but then I want to have a conference with the doula, because I feel like having a doula is sort of like a third party. She's not employed by the hospital. She has no one really to report to there, no insurances or anything. She's completely separate. And so she can kind of weigh in if we ask her on a different situation based on all of the births that she's experienced. I mean, she's been through hundreds of births. She's a mother herself, like most doulas are. So I feel like having that outside party, that third party voice of reason, will be really helpful. I'm not saying that doctors are bad. I'm not saying that they just care about the hospital and moving things along or whatever. I just feel like it would be nice to have a third party person. Another great thing about the doula is, while I do have an awesome OBGYN whom I love, she is super busy. She's not the kind of lady that I can go in and sit and have a chat with. And that's understandable. She's successful because she's really good at what she does. So she doesn't have a ton of time to chat. She gets to the point, and that is totally understandable, but I have lots of questions, big and small, and so I loved having a doula that I could text or email, and she would provide answers right away. And she also met with us twice before today. So we've had a meeting at 34 weeks and then a meeting at 36 weeks, and then she's on call now. Those 2 preparation meetings were so helpful. She walked us through pretty much all stages of labor and delivery and what to expect, because obviously, since we haven't done this before, I wasn't sure what the first signs of labor would be. I wasn't sure when I should go in. I didn't know if it was normal to be in intense contractions at home, or if I needed to go straight to the hospital, or will my water break and then it'll be really obvious. She gave us all the answers to those questions in those preparatory meetings. She also told me different things I can eat, different teas to drink. Some of that I already talked about. Gave us a rebozo and told us how to use it. And she really helped my husband too understand what is to be expected and what we're going to be encountering, some of the situations anyway. Now the doula is on call. She's been on call since 37 weeks, so she is basically waiting for me to call or text her and say, hey, I think I'm going into labor. Then she'll decide if she needs to come over or not. We'll talk about it. If it's really early labor, she won't need to come over. But if it's progressing quickly or further along, she will come over. Just basically hold my hand and help me get through those contractions initially. If this happens during the day, my husband is at work, so she might be the first person to get here. And I feel like that's really helpful as well. Just being able to have somebody who understands this process so well. I know my husband will be a great support, and he is all about, you know, being there for me and being my rock, but of course he's not gone through this either. So I love that my doula has all this wealth of knowledge and experience that she can pull on, and she's seen many women go through labor, and she knows those tips and tricks. So I think that's hugely helpful for me. She's also going to be coming with us to the delivery room, and she will be bringing some things with her that I think will be really helpful for me in the room. She's going to try to help make the space really calm and serene, which was really important to me. She's going to be bringing oils for like aromatherapy. We're bringing a speaker and a birthing ball and a whole bag of snacks, because you can bring snacks, but I will talk about that in the next video. And out of all of that, I think the #1 reason why we hired a doula was because we wanted somebody with us in the room when we're going through everything. Because we know that, you know, if something hits the fan, we can turn to our doula and ask her for her opinion, like I was saying, and we can also kind of have that reassurance that this is normal, this is fine. I've also done a lot of research on doulas, and it is said that if you have a doula, it really helps with women who want to have an unmedicated, natural vaginal birth, and that is my ideal. Obviously, I know that when push comes to shove, literally, I might not stick with that plan. I might opt in for that epidural, or we might end up having to have a C-section, or, you know, there's a whole myriad of things that can happen. I've had a really great pregnancy so far, but you never know. Having her there to kind of help us manage those big decisions or situations that could arise potentially will really make us feel great. Another thing that she mentioned that is a bonus to using a doula, which I thought was really funny, was she's found that much like having somebody watch a teacher in a classroom, like, you know, back in the day when you're in class, there's somebody, maybe they were critiquing the class or watching how the teacher kind of executes their lesson plan, whatever. I feel like having a doula there kind of is like she's watching the doctor too. And I'm not, again, I'm very pro-doctor, but I'm just saying that the teacher's always on their best behavior when they're being shadowed or watched. So I feel like the doctor might be on their best behavior too. She stays up until the delivery, and then she stays even after when I have that first skin to skin with the baby and helps with the first latch for breastfeeding. And then after that, she leaves because she wants to give us our time to rest and to bond with our baby. Gotta get through all of this before we can hold that little munchkin. And then she comes again afterwards one time, like a couple days later, a week later, just to make sure everything's going well postpartum, everything's good at home, everything's good with breastfeeding. Just kind of as like, you know, okay, what else do you need now that you have the baby? Ask me any other questions. So that's why we have a doula. If anything, she's been such a help so far. I've watched a lot of birthing videos she sent. I've read a lot of articles she sent that I never would have found. And I just have a better peace of mind and a more calm, confident sense of the whole process. Going into this, I feel much more educated and much better about it than I did prior to having her. And I think that's invaluable, right? In the end, we have to rely on ourselves and our instincts, and I feel confident that I can do it. I'll give you an update afterwards too.